Welcome back. You know, we spent a lot of time in this show talking about wasteful spending, but now I've got the flip side to it. I want to talk to you about a program that wastes absolutely not a single taxpayer cent. It actually sees real results, and there's numbers to back it up as well. Now think about this. 95%, in fact even more, of inmates in prison eventually get released back into society. Unfortunately, more than 60% of those prisoners end up right back in prison after they can't make it on the outside. Well, in New York State, give you a frame of reference, more than $50,000 a year is spent to try and keep somebody behind bars. But it only costs about $37,000 over the entire lifetime of an education, about 6 years on average, to educate a prisoner. Now, what if I told you there's a program out there that doesn't cost taxpayers a dime, allows inmates to earn a college degree, and again here, all through private funding, and over the lifetime of it will save more than $100,000 if you add it all up when it's all said and done, and it slashes the recidivism rate to 0. Well, if you're skeptical, you shouldn't be. You'll see in a second, this thing is a reality. It's called Hudson Link, and it's got a 100% success rate. It means none of the graduates, not a single one, have returned to prison since they've been released from prison. Well, last night, 25 men at Sing Sing Correctional Facility were there for the annual graduation. They received a college degree from exactly that program. And our own Kim Lengel, she attended the graduation, and she's here now to tell us more.
Yeah, Rich, this graduation was like no other. Now, these men are not your typical college students. Many said their college degree is a new lease on life. But theirs is a life behind bars in a maximum security prison. These men are students in the Hudson Link program at Sing Sing Correctional Facility in Ossining, New York. Hudson Link provides a college education to incarcerated men and women to break the cycle of crime and poverty. 25 men convicted of felony crimes, some even murder, marched down the makeshift aisle in the visitors' room of Sing Sing Correctional Facility last night. Graduates wore caps and gowns covering their state prison-issued green trousers.
We're making changes today that will send ripples down in history.
Executive Director of Hudson Link, Sean Pica, says he knows the value of a good education. He served 16 years in prison for manslaughter, the last 7 spent in Cell Block A at Sing Sing. Sean got his GED, his bachelor's degree, and a master's degree, all while serving time in prison. Sean says he's not an exception, that when given a chance, most inmates in prison can and will achieve a new beginning.
It's about children in this audience today that will turn to you at the end of the ceremony and say, you know what, Dad? If you can do it, I can do it. And wives and sisters and mothers that begin to say the same thing.
You understand better than most in this society today that indeed the real source of wealth in a society is not physical things. They may be the result of wealth, but the real wealth is the human mind.
Billionaire and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media, Stephen Forbes, discussed the concept of wealth. And for inmates who earn only $12 to $15 every 2 weeks working at the prison, wealth won't come easy. But his point, persevere and pay it forward. That sentiment was echoed by many of the speakers.
Just being who you are isn't enough. Just deciding to do the right thing isn't enough. 2 things have to occur. You have to be given the opportunity, and you have to be given some help. Tonight is representation of your commitment, your opportunity, and everybody's help.
12 years ago, Commissioner of the New York State Department of Corrections, Brian Fisher, stepped into Sing Sing as a superintendent. He championed the philosophy that education is the foundation of everything else that's positive in life. It demands willingness and resources.
And that's why you're graduating today. You didn't do it by yourself. You may think you did. When you go back tonight and you think about it, you might want to say, hey, look what I did. Well, you did not do it by yourself. You did it with all these people, and you did it with your families, and you did it with the Hudson Link supporters and Mercy College and everybody else.
As the graduates listened to their fellow inmates and valedictorian Ivan Chappelle, they grappled with mixed emotions.
Within the constructs of our former places in society, we all partook of a cycle of violence, a cycle of poverty, a cycle of broken homes. Breaking these cycles one and all is one of our key goals. It may sound far-fetched to some of you, but because of your time, dedication, and love, it is possible. So place your hope in this, please.
Now, most inmates who survive prison end up getting chewed up and spit out on the mean streets because they have few skills to get a job. These men are part of the 9th graduating class of Hudson Link, and incredibly, in the 10 years this program has existed, not a single prisoner has returned to prison. Rich?
You know, I've been to a few of these over the years. My brother's involved in this project, and I tell people, I have to cover, you've covered graduations with some big name commencement speakers. I said before people walk in the door, it'll be the best commencement address. And I have no idea about the script coming, and it didn't disappoint. Am I right here? You could hear a pin drop. I mean, some graphic stories about, these are not, you know, faint of heart. You don't go to sing some maximum security facility, you know, because you ran a red light. These are bad guys. But what they've chosen to do in the most unbelievable setting, you know, it makes you think, you know, that there is a power of redemption out there.
They've sacrificed, and that was palpable. You could feel that in the room. You could feel the hard work that they put into their degrees, and they know what the value of these degrees is.
And they also, for me, there wasn't a single one who didn't have remorse in that room, because the more that they got a handle, I think, on their lives, every year I hear it, the worse they feel and acknowledge, because it forces them to own up to the horrible things they did on the outside. And when they get out, like we said, 19 out of 20 inmates will get out. There's a chance they'll pay it forward, much more so than if they didn't get the degree.
I think the chance of them paying it forward is extremely high.
So far, it's 100%. All right, Kim, thank you very much. Now, when we come back, we're going to meet some of those graduating inmates. Kim sat down with a valedictorian and some other grads who's going to describe the moment as bittersweet. Deeply personal conversations about personal triumphs overshadowed by tragedies that for some may never be repaired. Please stay with us.